put your defensive player on skates. Crandall shows you how. 5-5 to Patrick Whelan from behind the goal.
Oh, Jamal Anderson said, no, my brother. I got some hops as well.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the In the Gap podcast. I'm Gino. We've got Jamel, Pete, and Pat with us. First off, we want to thank everybody that's listened, subscribed, shared, and given feedback so far. It's extremely important to us and what we're trying to do with this podcast and how we're trying to build it and go about this journey. So with that said, we do ask that you continue to like, subscribe, and share the podcast moving forward. And we look forward to continuing to bring you some awesome content. So we're going to have Jamel kick things off for us with a recap of what's been going on with you since the last pod.
I don't want to talk about it. Man. Hey, you got to appreciate life no matter what, right? 2 L's, man.
Mm-hmm.
Took 2 L's. One of them was, one of those ones where it's like, I could have gone either way against Bristol. Obviously, they're a good team. And then we went down to Surrey, and it was our first back-to-back. I think we just weren't prepared for it, basically. A lot of the guys at my team haven't done that before at the professional level. So, yeah. If you don't, you got to learn, right? And I think we learned a lot over the last couple of games. So, hopefully we can carry that forward from now, but that's it. I don't want to talk about it no more.
That's it. No questions, no nothing. We're just on to the next thing.
You can ask me a question if you want. It was a tough week,
To be fair, Surrey shot the ball. I watched the game. Surrey shot the ball extremely well. Like, extremely well.
Yeah.
Some games, like, your scout is your scout, and teams just obliterate your scout. And they shot the ball better than I've seen them shoot it this season. So just throwing you a little, there's a little.
Hey,
what a guy,
it,
what a
man.
friend.
Some of you can be happy about it,
Silver lining.
That's valid. All right, how about you, Pat? Things gone a little bit better for you, yes?
Yeah, a little bit different. A little bit happier than I was this time. Last time we were on the pod, but nah, we had honestly like a historic week for the club, and I would say for British basketball too. I think we started with Sibiu away in Romania. First of all, I gotta say that Sibiu is like gotta be one of the worst places to get to in the world. Like, it's a small town in Romania, bro. To get there, we took every form of transportation apart from a boat. For me, the coolest thing about that game was the atmosphere. Obviously, you two have both played in Europe, probably played in some crazy places, but like, it was sick, bro. Like, 2 sides of the crowd, like, chanting at each other. So one side would be like, first of all, there's a drum going the whole time. Boom, 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 whole time. One side goes CSU, other side CSU, 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 boom, 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 boom. It was insane, bro. And that like, you make a shot, it doesn't change. They make a shot, it doesn't change. It's just like, it's like a consistent like rhythm throughout the whole game. It's like they don't get happy if their team makes a shot. It just doesn't. The only time it stopped was halftime. So like, yeah, that part about it was sick. So we come back, we play BBL game against Sheffield, end up winning in overtime. We were up 18, I think, in the third quarter. End up winning in overtime, kind of lost that lead a little bit, but another great win for us. We corrected a lot of mistakes, and I think every time we play, especially some of these tougher BBL opponents, some of our tendencies kind of get exposed a little bit, and they always give us something to work on. Like, especially after the first Sheffield game, we knew we had a lot to work on. So honestly, that kind of helped us out with these European games.
You had this big game, right, in Romania,
Mm-hmm.
first FIBA Europe Cup game, big win. You know, the following week, you've got Anvil coming up, defending champion in FIBA Europe Cup, a huge game. And then kind of sandwiched in between that, you've got Sheffield, a BBO game. How or is there any difference in the preparation? Do you find it difficult to not, like you said, gloss over those BBO games? Because obviously this is a new experience for you, and something that I'm sure a lot of British players haven't experienced, having those international competitions, those midweek games, and then, like you said, having sandwiched in between that a game at Sheffield, who you also just played. So there's also that dynamic to it.
I think it's because it was the first time. Like, we were still really, really locked in. I think the challenge when you're playing all these games is to keep doing that throughout the season, right? Like, maybe you don't gloss over this one, but then the next one you like take a little more lightly because you've had a big European game. I don't know. So for me, I'm trying to do my best to stay locked into all of these games. For me, they're almost just as important, to be honest. Because if you want to be in a European competition the next year and keep going, like, and build a legacy for a club, you kind of have to do well in your domestic league. Like, it's a given. So yeah, that's the motivation for me. I think also with Sheffield, it was added motivation because we just got 20 ball away from home in the league the week before, and we were playing the same team again the next week, which was a bit of a crazy schedule. But
so then you go on, right? Beat the Romanian team. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Beat Sheffield. Then you've got Anvil at home.
Yeah.
Again, defending champions. So talk about that one, because that's obviously a huge, huge win for yourselves and then for British basketball as a whole.
Man, it was crazy. I think, like, from the start, like, you see them travel with, like, I think we let them have like 300 traveling fans or something like that, 400 traveling fans. But their 400 traveling fans were like contributed crazy to the atmosphere. Like, again, same vibe. There was a guy at the front, not even watching the game. This is the funniest thing to me whenever this happened at sports games. There's always a guy at the front of like a section, and he's not even watching the game. He's just turned around. He's looking at the crowd like this, and he's got his drum, and he's like telling them what to sing. He's just like, the game's literally happening behind him, bro. It's the funniest thing to me. You know, I've seen a lot of tweets about Anvil fans, but especially like first half, our fans were like doing their very best to drown them out. Like, they bought their own drums. They were beating their own drums. Like, it was making all this noise. Like, it was honestly, like, it was amazing. It was to the point where the game day announcers who were talking to the camera, there was no point in them even being there, bro. Because, like, usually they're like announcing like, oh, we've got Anvil here from Poland, blah blah blah, and all this, and they're talking, and the crowd has completely drowned them out. Like, it was amazing. So yeah, and then after we start playing, like, you could tell, like, I don't know, you guys have any comments watching, but the physicality level was completely different to I think any game we'd played so far. They were a big physical team, and you can tell that they were the champions of the FIBA Europe Cup for a reason. We had a really good scout on their team too. Like, our coaching staff did a phenomenal job. So yeah, truly just a team effort, man. Like, huge team effort. So really proud of the guys. Really proud of our performances so far, and we're not taking it for granted, but we still want more. We still want to achieve more. So I think all this has done is kind of put an X on our back in FIBA Europe Cup, and we'll see how teams come out and play against us now that we're 2-0 in group play. And yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for more special moments, hopefully.
So I just want to touch on, with you guys, obviously, as British players, have a different perspective than I do as somebody just watching from afar. But just talk about the impact you guys think that can have on the country as a whole, and how basketball is viewed in the country. Jamel, obviously you've got experience playing in Europe, so maybe you can touch on that, and how what Gladiators and Lions maybe have going on that's different from what was happening with Leicester when they did the BCL and the FIBA Europe Cup. But just your perspective. Give us your ideas, your thoughts.
I think a lot of the time we're trying to compare, aren't we? So, whether it's in this country where we say, oh, this Div 1 team, they got potential, they could be in the BBL one day. When we talk about the European standard, we're always talking about, well, what BBL teams can compete in the European level, whether it be the Europe Cup, whether it be, the Euro League for someone like the London Lions. And I think all these games are just kind of showing people that we're there, like the BBL has teams that are at that level that can compete at a higher level, whether it be Euro Cup or whether it be in a different league, like the one that Bristol's in. But yeah, overall,
I forgot to mention Bristol and Newcastle. Let me not get nobody yelling at me for that.
Yeah, don't forget. Come on, man, have some respect. Put some respect on their names. No, I just think it's like we're closing the gap, basically. And I think that people are starting to take note of that.
After we won our first game, obviously, Bristol won in the EMBL also. But after we won that game, I'd said to a couple of the Americans on our team, we got one rookie on our team, a couple guys, a couple Americans too. And they were like, I was telling them, I was like, bro, I don't think you realize like how big us winning in this competition is for British basketball. Because like in the past, we really just had London winning in the FIBA Europe Cup or Euro Cup, and the perception I feel like in Europe has been, oh, okay, you got London who have just invested all this money into this team, like they're the best team in the BBL by far. No other teams can compete on a European stage, right? Like to me, that's been the perception over the past couple of years. And I think now, like, as the British Basketball League becomes more and more respected, like, all the things that we want to happen will start happening, right? Like, better facilities for teams, better, like, sponsorship opportunities, more money invested into the league. Best British players will come back and play in their home country. Stuff like this that hasn't happened in the past. I think as the league grows in notoriety, will start to fall into place, and the vision that everyone's had for the league start to be realized. I think more wins we can get on that stage, and as you've seen, like we've already lost to Sheffield in the British Basketball League. Like there's not really any easy games in our league either. So I think the more we can win in Europe, the better for the league for sure.
I got a question. This wasn't on our agenda, so I might be kind of hitting y'all with one that so it's going to give me a good answer. I don't have no time to prepare for this. But here's my thought, right? Just thinking about this in the conversation we're having right now. When I think about, like, obviously basketball, like everybody's trying to grow the game of basketball in the country, right? In the UK. And then I think about some of and we've talked about like in European competition. So you have the countries like, Spain that has X amount of EuroLeague teams and then has teams all up and down the other competitions. You've got the Germanys, the Frances, the Serbias, right? Where basketball is such a big sport. Like it's a big thing. Everybody plays it from the time they're kids. And they're able to keep a lot of that talent to play for these teams, these domestic teams. So how does the country and the basketball culture in the country use this momentum that you guys have through the European successes, whether, this year, and then I'm assuming that every team and every club is going to want to build on those successes. But how do you get it to not be a flash in the pan type of thing? How do you get those successes to trickle down and build something in the country that can last for years and years and years to come?
One is attracting coaches, attracting players to come to the UK. I think the foundation of the professional league in this country has risen every year for like the last 4 or 5 years, whether it be, like Pat said, arenas, broadcasting, sponsorship, it's all growing in the right direction. And I think that putting the UK basketball on the map in Europe is going to attract coaches from around Europe that are looking for new jobs. It's going to attract high-level players because they know that there's an opportunity to play in a country where, first of all, speaking English is huge. Especially, I'm sure Gino, you can attest to that. Going to a country where they speak English and you're American, like that's huge, man. Especially if you got like a family and stuff. So I think one thing is attracting people here, which could obviously raise the level of the league. And I think the other thing is inspiring. I think, raising that ceiling for kids that are growing up in the basketball scene here and realizing the potential. If I'm a 16, 17-year-old kid right now in the UK, my ceiling is, hey, I could play for a professional team here, make a lot of money, and play in Europe at the same time. Like, when I was 16, 17, that was not even a figment of my imagination. Right. So yeah, for me, it's definitely those two things there that stick out for me.
For me, like, in order to build on this properly, I think each club needs to be, the biggest thing for me is each club needs to be like built on a stable foundation. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't just have teams like being really good one year and then being below average the next year. Like, the competition level has to be high enough as to where, like, you see teams competing with London, competing with us, competing with Bristol, competing with Newcastle, all the teams that play in Europe on a weekly basis. Otherwise, the perception is going to fall back into, there's a couple teams that are really good each year and the rest of them aren't very good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for me, that's the biggest thing. Jamel brought up an amazing point. Like, the more that, the notoriety of the league grows around Europe, the better talent is going to be adopted by the league, just because, like, when you have a league that's respected, like, you look at the second league in Spain, right? Leb Gold. You have players move from there to FIBA Europe Cup teams, like, right away. And it's like, that's a second league. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine someone moving from NBL in England today to go and play for, I don't know, like a top Turkish team or a top, like, obviously it wouldn't happen. Like, so yeah. I think the better players, the more the respect of the league grows, the better players that are going to come here, stay here and move on to better things from here. I think that's how the league grows. That's how we make it sustainable.
All right, circling back to just want to get back to something that Jamel talked about. You say, when you were 16 or 17, like the ceiling you felt for yourself as a basketball player in the country was not maybe as high as kids right now should be feeling like. So I just want to circle back and touch on, like, one, what led you to feel that way? Like, what experiences? Like, give us some stories about what it was like, you coming up as a basketball player in the UK, back in Nottingham. What was it like for you trying to make it?
Man, I don't even know where to start. I know full well as well.
That was the best American pronunciation you've ever heard of Nottingham.
Of Nottingham.
That was the best you've ever heard an American say.
That was close. I'll give you that. I know for a fact, as you asked me that question, yeah, Patrick's mind was whizzing because he's thinking about all the stuff that he's gone through. Like, I say gone through, but you know what I mean. It's just the comparisons between my childhood basketball wise and yours must be just like, what?
Yeah, that's why I want to hear, because, like, obviously for us, like, and we've talked about it a little bit, but I want to maybe make viewers, listeners aware, because, like, for me, like, right now I'm literally in a text because obviously I'm back home right now, and it took me like an hour to get a gym together and get like 12 to 15 guys to play basketball at my old high school.
That's
And I'm talking about
insane.
like high level guys, like guys that I'm even like, it's worth playing pickup, you know? And this was nothing like one of my boys who I work out with. We work out every morning right now during the week. And he just got cleared to play. Obviously, I'm not playing right now. So I'm like, all right, our workouts are cool and all, but like, let's get some live play. So I was like, yo, are you down to play tomorrow? Should we try to get a group together? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, you send a few texts. I'll send a few texts. I'll send a text. The longest text that it took for me to get back was the gym. And that was only because the dude who I had asked hadn't seen his phone yet.
That's funny.
So like, that's why I want to know. And I want to make it like clear for the viewers, because I think this is also a part of how basketball can grow in the country is accessibility. So like I said, I just want to hear some of you guys' toughest challenges or worst stories that you have, or
let's start.
Hurdles you had to overcome.
Before we even go back to the 90s, no, I'm joking. Before we go back to the 2000s, before we go back to the 2000s, yeah. Listen, what you just said about getting people together in an hour, there is no way. There is no way. Do you know how long it would take me to get 10 people together to scrimmage in the summer? Oh my God. It's so bad, yeah, that when they walk through the door, every time someone walks in, we go, whoa! Because you don't expect people to turn up. Don't matter how many people you invite, bro. So I can't even believe you just said that. And in the season.
Right.
No way. Pete, you've seen it, bro. You've seen it.
I was about to say
off-season
actually,
scrimmages.
Like, me and Jamela in the same group message. Like, it's a group message, all the people around Manchester who are all like pros and want to, get together and play basketball, right? Bro, some of these guys, I'm not gonna point anyone out individually, right? Some of these guys, they're pros, and you wouldn't think it, because anytime you hit them up, they're busy. They never wanted to play. So, yeah, I feel Jamel's pain 100%, because it is the amount of times we've been in the gym and there's been like 8 of us, and it's like, yeah, we need 2 more, bro. We're not trying to play 4. We played 4-on-4 full court. I remember this because Jamel was picking me up full court.
Hey, I gotta get something out of it.
Full court in the offseason.
Go 4-on-4.
Arms and legs moving at different times.
Arms
full
and
court.
legs, exactly. Bro, so yeah, no, it is tough, bro. I hear you.
I'm telling you. And these are the same people that are like, yo, where are you playing next year? Can you, hit the coach up, or whatever. I'm like, bro, you're not even turning up to the scrimmages. What are we talking about? What do you want me to say? When the coach says to me, yo, you've been working out with him, what do you want me to say? You want me to just lie and be like, yeah, it's been every scrimmage, looking good. You know what I mean?
I mean, fuck that coach. I wouldn't even want to play with you. Like, no, bro. I want you on my team, and I've seen your work ethic in the summer. I'm not passing you the ball in February with a game on the line. Like,
bro, I'm like, I get it, right? At the beginning of the summer, I get it, right? Not everybody's like that guy where they want to scrimmage and work out straight away. I get it. That's fine. But yo, a month before the season starts, the man are talking about, yeah, I'll be there. And then you get there and they don't turn up. And it's like, so what happened? I'm going, it's my boy's birthday, innit? I'm going to this bar. Cool. Thanks for letting me know. I got my shoes on, got my ankle braces on. I'm doing a warm up. I'm doing high knees. This guy's text is not coming. But yeah, sorry. Back to where we come from. Yeah.
Yeah, rewinding it.
I've still got scars on my hand to this day, bro. From when I used to play on an outdoor court, because where I lived, it was a Clifton estate. Yeah. There's no indoor basketball, I didn't start using the indoor gym until I want to say like 16, 17. Like that's when I really was like, okay, I can get access to a basketball indoor. Like if I wasn't at training, there was no gym, bro. It was you're outside, all year round.
Yeah,
you
know the weather,
bro.
It's just you've seen the weather in England, man.
Yeah,
that's great.
Now that was back then. That was like 15 years ago. Whereas now, I'm sure it's a lot easier to get a gym. to go shoot on. But yeah, man, outdoor, mate, getting glass because the court, obviously, or the the bad kids, they use the court for whatever they want to do, smashing bottles, etc. But one story that sticks in my mind: innocent little Jamel, playing basketball outside in the cold. Yeah, lights going out, street lights are on, still playing, loving it. And where I played in Clifton, there was this like really tall, high-rise like flats. And I'm just playing, and I hear boom, like really loud bang, like literally a meter from me, bro. And I like jump. I'm like, what the hell's that? And I turn around, and it's just like a potato, like literally a raw potato, bro. And I'm like, who the hell is throwing a potato at me? Like, what is going on? And I'm looking around thinking, this is mad. Like, I'm trying to get reps, yeah. Man, I'm throwing potatoes. Listen, constantly, yeah. Every like couple of minutes, boom, and the noise it made, I realized where it was coming from. From the top of this high rise. I'm like, yo, if one of those hit me, yeah, I might not be here today, like having this conversation with you guys. And that's the type of environments, that I was trying to get better at basketball in. Like, my hands are bleeding. I got people throwing bomb potatoes at me from top of buildings. Like, what is going on? Like, why are you trying to kill me? What have I done to you? You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Yeah, that's one story that sticks in my mind, bro. Pete, what?
Wait, Pete, before we get to your question, in the edit, can we just throw like the loudest potato sounds we can find?
Yeah, we can. Potato. That's quite good.
That was good.
If you retell that story, I'll just throw that in.
That's kind of what it sounded like. I'm really legit with you.
That's funny.
So I was going to ask, so obviously you learned how to play basketball outside.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the Commonwealth Games in your home city of Birmingham, and you're playing outside.
And no one was throwing potatoes at me. Dream come true.
Was it an advantage over the other guys that you face, like Canada or Australia or all of those,
That is honestly a great question. And I'll tell you why I think it's a great question. Because we talked about that. Me, Miles, Orlan, and Kane. We actually said, like, when we were kind of getting into the 3x3 thing and we're really getting good at it and enjoying it, we're like, you know what? Kind of takes me back to my childhood, And that was a weird feeling. Because, like, your childhood is when it starts, like playing on the courts outside. But then all of a sudden now, you're playing for a medal for your country. And it's taking you all the way back to the beginning. It was quite nostalgic. So, yeah, I definitely say maybe there was an advantage there because it made us enjoy it more and appreciate it more.
It's a hell of a question, Pete.
Hell of a question.
That was good. All right, Pat, you got a story for us? I feel like you've talked about breaking into a.
Yeah.
I don't know the statute of limitations. Like, if we can talk about that without you getting arrested or not.
I'm gonna tell you like how that went down in a second, but real quick about playing outside. I got a funny story about playing outside. Right. My family every year. We had a hoop on my driveway, which was elite. Shout out Mike and Catherine Whelan. But every week, or every year, we would have this barbecue, right? All our African like family, all like people from church, like everyone, like come to this barbecue. Bro, there was one year. So every year it end up, we'd have 2-on-2 like on the driveway, 3-on-3. Like would just be hooping on the driveway. Everyone would be watching like crazy. So. Bro, there was one year, right? My dad used to always think, like, it was probably the first time I knew he couldn't beat me in a one-on-one. We hadn't played in probably about 3 years, but he didn't know. And he had a little bit of liquid courage when he was at the grill. So he was a little bit intoxicated. Bro. He checks the ball up to me. We're playing one-on-one, right? I catch it at the top of the driveway. I'm like this. Because he's fouling me. Because obviously, he's my dad. Why would he be playing legit defense? Bro, I take one dribble to the right and I cross back. I pull it back like this, right? Sorry, Big Mike, for telling this story, but he trips and I kid you not, he falls over into the hedge. I take the jumper, all net, bro. I shut down the driveway on Big Mike. Everyone comes onto the court. Oh, bro. I shut down the driveway. It was honestly hilarious, bro. It was. I wish I had it
Everybody
on
just
video
starts
or
yelling,
something.
Patrick fucking Whelan.
It was crazy. Since then, me and my dad never touched the basketball court. Yeah, 100%. We never touched the basketball court at the same time since then.
Yeah.
It was comedy.
You gonna cross
Anyway.
me up in front of the family? That's disrespectful.
Bro, it was like it was like 50 people. It was like 50 people around the driveway watching, bro. It was too funny.
That's funny.
But anyway, back to breaking into this high school. Right? We know the school times, right? Like me and my brother used to try and get in before school or after school. So it started because we went up to them. There was a gym at the school. Me and my brother worked out at the gym at the school, like a public gym. And we go up to them. We're like, "Hey, is there any chance we can use the sports hall just to get shots up?" Like, they're just like, "No, you got to book it. It's £22 for an hour." Me and Jordan are like, "Okay, we're not doing that. Like, fine, whatever." And then so we go to lift and we leave. And as we're leaving, we see like all the kids are coming down through this door because they just finished school. So they're coming down through this door. So we're like, "Yo, I wonder if we could just like sneak in at the same time as they're leaving." So like it gets to the point where every week or every day, me and my brother go into lift and then just sneaking in right as the kids are leaving. The school caught on and they start putting a teacher on that door every day. Like kids come out, teachers like there, like not playing no games, just like looking for us, right? So then they realized, okay, we couldn't do that. But then we realized like in the morning, like 7 a.m., that's when the teachers come in and no one's using the gym at that point, right? So the gym door is right here. The door to get up to the sports hall is right next to it. Bro, I kid you not. It gets to the point where me and my brother are in the gym working out and we're just watching the door. Like we're just watching to see when someone goes through. So it's like almost like a cartoon, bro. After someone goes through and when there's a push door, so when they've gone through and their back's turned and they're not looking, we literally like sprint out and we grab the door and we just hold it there for a second, wait for him to leave. And then we just go up the stairs, bro. Go up the stairs, get into the sports hall. All good. Yeah, man. That's how we broke into Cultured High School. Shout out Cultured High School, man.
Was this a one-time thing or like is this a consistent?
Bro, this is like almost daily. Yeah. This is almost daily, bro. We got so good at this, bro. We got so good at this. We only got caught a couple times. We did. But yeah.
So daily for how many years?
This was mainly during the summers. So I would say
Okay,
like
so we're talking about
maybe 3 or 4 summers in a row.
days.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about 400 days.
400 break
times £22.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that would be a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
That's
£22 is crazy to play basketball.
It's mad.
right.
But
no, that's insane.
My alternative was it was either do that or shout out Manchester Magic. Manchester Magic court was always open to me, always. And those guys, like, honestly, there's a reason why some of the best British basketball players come from that program, because they actually provide the facilities to young kids when they, when they need it, they want to get better. But for me to get there, I'd have to take like either a train and 2 buses or 2 buses for an hour each. So it's like, I did that a fair few times too, but like, I'd rather, just, be a criminal,
Break
I
into
guess.
school.
Yeah.
Rather be a criminal.
Let's talk about that point a little bit, and then Gino, I'm going to ask you a question about that. So first of all, yeah, shout out Magic. Public service announcement, be like Magic, because there's so many kids that need to just play. Like, why do we make it so hard for a kid to just play basketball inside in a country where, 80% of the time we need to be inside, let's be honest, right? Because you could be getting potatoes thrown at you. But the biggest point though, and this comes back to what I said about not being able to play indoors. The reason I couldn't play is because I couldn't afford it. Like, I went to this leisure center, which is across the road from my house. They got 2 basketball hoops. I'm the only basketball player in the whole estate, but I can't use this basketball court. Why? Because it was like £30 for 30 minutes. Like, what are you talking about? I'm 15 years old. Where am I getting £30 from?
Right.
So my question to you, Gino, how much does it cost you, other than when you know someone, like when Patrick knows Manchester Magic, for you to just get a gym where you don't know anybody there and you just pay for it? How much are we talking, bro?
I mean, it depends. So I actually have a funny story. I'll lead with this story because it's kind of similar in, the setup, but completely different in contrasting in terms of price. Because like when I was younger, so like I said before, I lived in North Minneapolis, and Minneapolis actually has a really good park system. Like in terms of in the country, it's one of the best park systems in the country. A lot of parks, a lot of green space, but a lot of our parks also have rec centers. So like recreation centers where there's a gym inside, there's areas and where staff are there in the summers or after school hours during the school year to provide activities, with some kids, maybe they're in the arts and crafts. There's arts and crafts spaces. There's football fields, playgrounds outside. So it's like a lot of the parks are like bigger kind of areas. But so the park by where I grew up at, Farview Park, shout out to Farview Park for anybody listening. You know me, I spent a great portion of my life at Farview Park. But I just remember when I was younger, my parents obviously worked a lot. We were working class. And oftentimes at the same time, I mean, it's not like it's hard to schedule like one parent working nights, one parent's working days. So in the summers, by the time I was probably like 7 or 8, like my folks were just like, all right, y'all got it. Like, y'all are good. Y'all can survive at home on your own. Obviously that's not an ideal situation, but they were like, shit, we got to go to work. Not really paying for daycare. Like, or maybe my dad would leave it later in the day because he could make his own hours. But like, so maybe around 10 o'clock, me and my brothers, we would eat breakfast and then we just walk to the park. There's a 4-block walk for us, 4 city blocks. So we walk to the park every day. I think in the summers they would open at like 10:30 or 11. And you walk in, it's free to get in. You don't have to pay nothing, not a dime. As the older I got, they started implementing this ID system, but you don't have to pay for the ID. You basically come in, write down your address with a parent. Like your parent will show proof of the address that you live in the neighborhood or something. And then they'll take like a photo and you get this little photo ID card. And even if you lose it, I think it was like $1 to get a new one. And then half the time, they know everybody don't got $1, like you're a kid, so they don't really stress you about it. But like growing up, we could go to the park every day, play basketball every day. The gym was just open. Sometimes they would have stuff going on in the gym. They would organize like, gym games and stuff like, I don't know, or stuff on the scooters or like other little ball games. So most times the gym was open. In my neighborhood, we had a lot of guys who played basketball, so there's always time to get 5-on-5. And I remember when I was younger, like, I didn't really get to hop in the 5-on-5 too much because I was younger. It was always the older kids playing. But then as I got better and they seen like, oh, okay, he can actually hoop. It's like, all right, yeah, you can run with us, blah, blah, blah. But like, that's why it's so crazy to me, like 22 pounds, because like the gym down the street. And then if that wasn't open, there was another park that I could hop on the bus and go to Falwell, which was maybe like 15 blocks one way. Then there was another park another 15 blocks the opposite way. Like there was always access to a gym. Now it's not like maybe the best of the best gyms like out in the suburbs or whatever, but like it was good quality gyms, especially Farview Park. I remember one year the Timberwolves Foundation or whatever like paid to have the park redone. So the gym, like it was super easy just to get in and play basketball. You know what I mean? And then nowadays, like if you want to get somewhere nicer, like yeah, you can talk to people and have ins to a gym. But even then, like I mean, outside of the big, like if y'all know like the Lifetime fitness chains and stuff, like those are kind of pricey, but them have like everything. And those aren't really tailored toward kids wanting to play basketball anyways. That's like for adults wanting a whole like what's the places that they're like in? There's a thing that is like in the UK. I can't think of what they're called.
David Lloyd.
Yeah, that. Like
yeah,
that.
David
It's
Lloyd.
like that.
Yeah.
Shout
But,
out David Lloyd.
But yeah, it was always like super, super easy. Like I said, I would just walk with my brothers in the summer. And then on top of that, they served like a free lunch for all the kids. It was like a bag lunch, like a sandwich and a bag of chips or something. But that was free. So we didn't have to pay for lunch or anything or walk back home to get lunch. We just eat lunch at the park and go back and play basketball from like 10:30 to like 5 p.m. when they closed. And then they would close for like 2 hours and then open back up for teenagers from like 7 to 9. But again, because I was good at basketball, they were like, all right, yeah, you can come to play with the older kids or whatever. But so it was always super easy to play basketball. And then like all the elementary schools, middle schools have gyms. You've got your club traveling teams and stuff. The high schools had gyms that you could always
All right,
get into.
man, we
like,
get it.
Yeah,
Bloody
but I'm saying,
hell.
I think that's.
Rubbing it in our faces, man. Like at this point, it's just like, okay, Gino.
And I think like to contrast and compare, like I think that's a area
no comparison.
where the UK could be better. Like y'all said, like there should be opportunities for kids to not have to jump through hoops to shoot hoops.
Hey,
you know? Like
I
you shouldn't have
did
to.
there. I like what you
Like
did
there shouldn't be a whole bunch of
there.
hurdles, or you feeling like you got to break into somewhere, or or you having to get potatoes thrown at your head just to get some reps in. You know.
Facts.
I will say,
I think that's
it is a little better now. Especially in Manchester. In Manchester, it's better now. Like because you got the National Basketball Performance Center, which is like you pay £3 and you can. They say you're only allowed to go in there for an hour, but I've definitely paid £3. Yeah, 100%. I've never paid £3.
You're just committing all types of crimes, man. That's fraud.
No.
No, honestly, I think there's something that Jeff does for kids, Jeff Jones, where it's like £1. Like, I'm pretty certain he does a thing where it's like a certain time, kids pay £1 and they can be in there for like a long time, bro. Like hours.
Love it.
Mate, if you go to the Bellevue Center anytime in the half term, Jeff's got a camp on for kids, hundreds of kids, bro, just playing basketball all day. And I'm like, I wish. And the court, obviously, is really good quality. So can you imagine? Let's
do this. If you're in the UK and you got any type of gym or any type of program that supports kids wanting to get some hoops in at a free or a low price, send it to us. We'll compile a database. We'll push everything out so you can spread it to a bigger audience, and let's get some kids in some gyms.
Love that.
100%. 100%. Look at us, man, being ambassadors.
All right,
being ambassadors for the game.
Look at us. Look at us. We had one more segment, but I think we put that off till next time.
My favorite thing to say now to my teammates or my friends, whoever I'm playing basketball against, whenever I
want that for when I do the outro.
whenever I win in like a shooting competition or like a game or something that we're playing, I'm like, you're really gonna let a British kid beat you in basketball? Like, that is insane. I'm like, that is insane. How are you gonna let someone from the UK beat you in basketball? You're from America. I'm like, that's my favorite thing to say, man.
I'm gonna have to say it now.
That's right.
You see what you've done? Like, you just opened a little can. That's what you've done now. Yeah? Reese. No, I'm not gonna say that. I played a basketball game And an American was whoopsie was guarding me, and he was like, I'm not going to describe this. It's too obvious if I just say all the details, right? But anyway, I said to him, listen, I don't play like that. Like, I'm not going to be trying to grab you, push you. Like, I'm just here to play basketball, right? And he turns around to me and says, you're from the UK. Y'all don't even play basketball out here. I'm going to show you how to play basketball. Sorry about the terrible American accent, you know. And I was like, oh, okay. That was aggressive and kind of like really rude after I just told you I'm not going to like, you know, do that dirty stuff in this game. But okay, cool. Anyway, a couple of plays later, he was sat on the bench for 2 fouls real quick. And I just thought to myself, like, what is that? What's that about? Like, you've signed to play in the UK and you are now going to stand there and say, basketball here is terrible.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense.
What does that mean? What does that mean about you then? If you signed here, that doesn't add up. And for me, to be honest with you, for me personally, you can say what you want to me. I'm right over my head, bro. I've heard it all.
Facts.
When you start disrespecting British basketball, now I gotta get a little bit defensive. You know what I mean? Because nah, man, we're not here to be disrespected. You know what I mean? There's plenty of reasons why British basketball is on the rise, and there's plenty of great things that British basketball players have done. Yeah, and I just thought that was kind of wild. So you know what, Pat? I might start saying that. I like that. I don't know if you mind, but I think I'm going to take that one.
Good. Pete, keep
Deal.
that whole conversation in. The whole thing.
Standing up for British basketball, man.
All right. Coming up on the next episode, we are interested in hearing from our audience. We want questions, comments, concerns, or any other ideas that pop into your head that you would like to hear me, Jamel, Pat, and Pete touch on. So please feel free to reach out to us on our socials, or if you're cool enough to be in direct contact with any of us, text my phone. I'll answer whatever we need to answer on the pod. Drum roll me out. And with that, that is a wrap on episode 3 of the In the Gap podcast. Reminder to follow us on all of our socials at In the Gap Pod. That's Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and be sure to share. If you're following us on your podcast hosting site of choice, please do the same. Like, subscribe, share, leave us good reviews. Looking forward to getting another episode recorded and getting more content out to you as soon as possible. Lastly, if you're interested in supporting the podcast in any other ways, please feel free to reach out to us on our social handles, and we'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.
3 down.